the wild game feed. And I said, okay. I said, well, what do you want me to do? And he said, well, he said, you have to do just 3 things. He said, you need to set a date. You need to have Patty put it in the announcement. And if you want to, you can call Bill Winky and have him come and be the speaker. And I'm thinking, geez, 3 things and that's all it's going to take? I said, hey, Larry, I can do that. I said, by the way, where are you at? He said, well, I said, why aren't you going to do this? He says, well, I'm not going to be back yet in February. And I said, well, where are you? And he said something about being in Cancun or the Riviera or someplace South Texas maybe. I don't know. He was a long way away. And I said, well, man, that's a setup. You call and ask me to do something, you're not here to even help. So I said, yeah, Larry, I can do 3 things. Surely I can get those 3 things done. So a day or 2 later, I called the pastor. And I said, Larry called me the other night and wanted me to help out. And I said, I've agreed to do it. And the pastor's words were, he said, oh, man, I'm glad you decided to do that, guy. And the way he said that made me think that I was already set up. You know what I mean? It was just the way the tone was. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. And then the next words out of his mouth, and I've shared this with some of the men at men's breakfast, the next words out of his mouth literally put the hair up on the back of my neck, because the first thing he said was, we want to kick this thing up a notch. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when our pastor says he's going to kick it up a notch, he's not talking a little notch. His notch is from here to the moon. I mean, it's not just a little. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. And I said, just exactly what did you have in mind? And guys, no kidding, on a serious note, for the next 15 minutes, our pastor laid out, okay, his vision for a ministry that was unlike any other this church has ever done. I think the misconception is that Sportsman's Fest is fun, food, and fellowship. It's a bunch of deer hunters and coon hunters and coyote hunters and a few fishermen and some outdoors people coming together for an evening of fun, food, and fellowship. Can I tell you we do that? But can I tell you the pastor's vision was not that at all. For 15 minutes, he talked about trying to reach a segment of our community, a segment of our population that he didn't think any other church was trying to reach out and touch. And he said, I don't know how we're going to get there. He said, we're just in a planning stage, but he said, with your help and with some other people in the church, we're going to try to completely change. In his exact words, and I want to be kind to the guys that had the wild game feed, he said, I'm tired of sitting around with 40 guys daring each other to eat something that's in that pot over there. And he said, we got to make this something more. And I said, okay. I said, I'm aiming for that. What he didn't know, and I wish he was here tonight, I was hoping he was going to be here tonight, and he's supposed to be watching the video, so I don't know if he will or not, but what he didn't realize at that time is that for years, I'd been praying to be part of a ministry that catered to the people that I enjoy being around, the hunters, the fishermen, the outdoors people. And so that's why I'm saying the hair went up on the back of my neck when he starts talking about a ministry that caters to the people that do the things that I truly enjoy doing. And I'd already been part of a ministry with Catch a Dream, and I'm going to bring that into the backside here in just a minute and let you see how God works years in advance, okay, of coordinating things to get to a very specific place in time. And I really feel God's hands is in that. So back to last year. So I said, okay, Pastor, I'm in, I'm game. What do you have in mind? And he just threw out a couple ideas. And I said, wow, that's kind of cool. I said, what you're really thinking about is something like the Deer Classic. And he said, that's a good idea. Let's do it like the Deer Classic. And over the course of about 60 days, me, the pastor, Virgil, 2 or 3 of the guys, we started just bouncing different ideas off of people. And there were times when literally I was calling the pastor 3 and 4 times a day saying, hey, I just got off the phone with this person, and they're going to do this. And I just got off the phone with this guy, and he thinks he can do this. And we just talked to Cabela's and Shields and Sportsman's Warehouse, and they all agreed to be sponsors of this event. And you all know the pastor's favorite verse or favorite saying is, man, that's crazy. Well, we said that's crazy 1,000 times getting ready for Sportsman's Fest last year. Keep in mind that 2 years ago, 40 guys got together, daring each other to eat something. Last year, let me back up a minute. I want to do this real quick. How many people were here last year at Sportsman's Fest? Oh, quite a few of you. Good, good. Okay. Year before, there was 40 people. Last year we had over 350 people in our gymnasium in an absolute snowstorm. People calling, wondering if we were still having it because they had roads blocked and couldn't get here, okay? Friends from all around southern Iowa called me the next day, said, man, we wanted to get there and we couldn't do it because the roads were so bad. We would have had well over 400 people in that gymnasium. Can I tell you that when you go from 40 people to a gymnasium of 350, that's nothing I've done. That's nothing the pastor's done, Virgil, Marty, Jeff, anybody else. That's a God thing. Can I tell you, I think that God has his hands in fun, food, and fellowship. But can I tell you, I think he blesses ministries. I'm a newcomer here for the most part, a little over 3 years. You guys have been here and seen this happen time and time again. But I can tell you, when God breathes life into a ministry, it's nothing that we've done. It's just a God thing, and it just takes off and it just goes. We had that gym lined with vendors. We had so much food, we thought we was never going to get done with it. We ran out of food before the night was over with over 300. We were hoping. The pastor and I had made notes many, many times. How many people do we think we're expected going to get here? You know what our goal was? Our goal was 150. We wanted 3 times more than the year before, roughly, of what was at the wild game feed. We was hoping for 150. Can I tell you, God said that's not enough? You guys are not. What are you guys talking? 150? I can do 350 in a snowstorm. Here, watch this. And pretty soon, and that's what we had. From that very humble beginning, okay, has literally started a transformation. And I hope somehow I can get the people of the church to get a better grasp of what we're trying to do. Last year, we did 100% of Sportsman's Fest in the gymnasium. We had it ringed with vendors. Had the food set up. Ladies did a wonderful job. A lot of guys did a lot of cooking. Bill Winkie came in and did a really good job, did a really good job talking to us. But it was evident just from the response we were getting from different people that this thing was going to go a lot bigger. I actually at one point had called Bridgeview and Honey Creek over here to try to rent a venue that was going to be big enough to hold us, because we realized real quick last year, 350 people, if we grow by just 10% or whatever, we're not going to put them all in the gym. And to Bill Winkie's credit, he said, whatever you do, because we was talking to him about doing this, he said, whatever you do, don't take that program away from your church. He said, the whole idea is to bring people to your church. If you're going to make this a ministry, you got to use your church. We took Bill to heart. I sat down and chatted with Virgil again. Virgil come up with some really neat ideas. By the way, just so you all know, you ain't paying that man enough. Just so you all know. I know he's building a new house, but you're not paying that man enough. This guy does a great, great job. And I'm not talking just with the kids. We know what he does with the kids. But what he does, other things, and I had a chance to spend the last year working on some things with him. Great guy. And he's not paying me to say that. He come up with some really neat ideas. One of the things that we're going to attempt to do this year is let the outside world that comes to this event see what we can do as a church. We are going to use a gym. It's going to be lined again with vendors, and it looks like there's going to be the top floor filled this year, or at least partially full, with vendors on the upstairs. We're also going to use the entire youth wing. We're going to have an indoor bow shoot in our youth wing. The NWTF, the National Wild Federation, the National Wild Turkey Federation, has an indoor shooting system. They bring drapes, it drapes the walls. They bring all the bows, all the arrows, all the different targets. They're going to set it up. They're going to help us run it. Virgil and the youth are going to be up there, and they're going to man that thing all day long. We're going to have multiple classes of kids, boys, girls, young adults, well, not young adults, but teenagers probably, up there doing a bow shoot most of the afternoon. Going to have a hot dog stand set up there and chips and all the fixings for all the kids. And all afternoon long, the youth, not only of this church, but we hope that we draw from, is going to be able to experience what our youth see 2 or 3 times a week in the youth group up there. It's a way that we hope that we can reach the youth of the community that isn't part of this church right now. Last year we had the speaker on a little platform underneath the baskets in there. This year, all of the presentations, the keynote speech, and also the seminars is going to be done in here. I wish Bill was here because I had a couple things I need to yak at him about.